Even with all of the heat that we've been experiencing here in Southwest Louisiana, it's my turn. And all of the lack of rain, our cucumbers are still doing pretty amazing. There's, on either side of this archway, there's 2 cucumber plants for a total of 4. Those all came from our friend Barb. You may know her from the chats as Barb is Rule on YouTube. She shared some plants with us, and they have just been going to town. They're doing outstanding and just producing a ton of cucumbers for us. So with this abundance of cucumbers, we had to find something to do with them.
We're gonna start out by washing the cucumbers. You wanna make sure, I'm using a produce brush, but you wanna make sure the ends of your cucumbers, where the vine was and where the blossom was, that those parts are cleaned really well, because that's where the majority of your bacteria is gonna come from. And that's what we don't want in the ferment. We want good bacteria, not mold. You can spray these with vinegar, but if you do that, rinse them, make sure you rinse them very, very well, because you don't want to be putting vinegar into your jar. We're not pickling, we're fermenting. My main focus is cleaning the outsides of the skin. I'm not focused so much on the ends because I'm going to be removing those and making them into spears. You can do these whole, you can do them sliced, or you can do them in spears. You can cut the cucumbers any which way you want them. Just if they're cut smaller, they're going to take less time to ferment than they would as a whole cucumber. Now that the majority of our cucumbers are sliced into spears, or you can do them in slices, or you can even do them whole. I didn't slice all of them because I'm not sure exactly what's going to fit in my jar yet. But we need a quart size wide mouth jar, wide mouth ring, and lid. I'm using a fermenting kit that has the pickle pipes and the weights. Don't necessarily have to use these. You can use your regular lid. You're just going to need to make sure to open the lid twice a day to let it burp. You can also use a coffee filter and a rubber band on the top of the jar in place of these, but this is a one-way valve, so the air goes out, but it can't allow bacteria back in. Whereas the coffee filter and burping it, you can get bacteria back into the jar. I'm using pink Himalayan salt. I've got a tablespoon of salt and a tablespoon of dried dill weed. Now you can use fresh dill if you want to do it that way. And you can use any type of salt, just non-iodized salt. And I've got 3 cloves of garlic. Now this round, I'm going to put the garlic in whole. Last time I cut it into thin little discs and put it in there, thinking that I would make more room in the jar. But it made the garlic a little more potent. So I'm going to try them whole cloves this time. And if it's still a little too much garlic for our taste, then I'll just cut back on the amount of cloves of garlic. Most important part is filtered water. This says spring water, but it's actually not. We run this through our Alexa Pure filter, which is fine. Just don't use tap water because it's chlorinated, which is going to kill all of your benefits of fermenting. So it won't actually ferment like it's supposed to because of the chlorine. And this is pretty much it. Take your salt, pour it in the jar. Take your dill, pour it in the jar. We're gonna drop our cloves of garlic, and you wanna make sure your jars are clean. All your tools and stuff have been cleaned. Everything's been cleaned and sterilized. Then you're gonna take your cucumbers and start stacking them in as tight as you can get them. As many as you can fit. Try not to break it.
Go, go, go.
Got it. Now that your jar is stuffed as tight as you can get it, I may be able to fit another 1 or 2 pieces in there if I really wanted to wedge them in there. They're all snug in there, as snug as they're gonna get, pretty much. Last step is to fill it with filtered water. And you wanna go, make sure it's over the cucumbers, over the tops. And I just kind of snug them down in there, make sure. Now I'm not gonna use the glass weight, because these are really snugged in there. I am gonna tap it, kind of remove some of the air bubbles, just to make sure. Add a little bit more water to cover my cucumbers all the way. I have a paper towel that I just barely dampened with vinegar that I'm gonna carefully wipe along just the top edge of my jar. And then I'm gonna wipe just around the edge of the pickle pipe. Before I put the pickle pipe on there, I'm gonna use the lid, and we're gonna secure the lid really tight. And you want to give it a shake, because all of your salt and your dill and everything is down at the bottom, and you want to make sure that your water starts to dissolve all those, especially the salt. Our garlic kind of got mushed down there at the bottom, but that's okay. Now we can remove the lid. Again, wipe just the edge, because you don't want bacteria getting in between your pickle pipe and the top of your jar. And I'm gonna wipe the inside of the ring, just because I got a bunch of stuff on it from shaking it. That's it. In about 5 days, these will be done. Check them after 3. After 3 days of sitting in a cool, dark place. Take one out and taste it. And if you like it, leave it like it is. If you don't, let them ferment for a few more days. They can go up to 7 days. When they're finished, remove this lid and your pickle pipe. You can put either a regular lid, or I use the white storage lids, and stick it in the fridge, and it's ready to go. Now's the fun part. Making Brett taste them.
No, we've been snacking on these. This jar is open, and it has been for a little while. I am not a fan of pickles, as John at Heirloom Permaculture can attest. But the reason why I normally don't like pickles is because of the vinegar, pungent, funky. This has, well, here.
This tastes like a dill pickle, but it doesn't have that heavy vinegar taste.
Not at all. It's just a garlicky, briny goodness.
And they stay crispy.
Very much, yeah. You might even be able to hear the crisp.
I think they're good. Now these have a little more garlic than I'm used to. So I left on the new batch, I left the cloves whole. On this one, I cut them up into little pieces. I don't know if you can see that it's kind of cloudy in that, but and I think that's what really made that potent garlic taste. If they're still too garlicky, you can cut down on the garlic, or you can actually leave the garlic out completely. It's not needed.
Keep in mind, there's more than one way to skin a cat. But if you're interested in looking for this, it's Mason Tops is the brand. this fermentation kit. We're going to put a link, an Amazon link, down in the description below.